you can start building completely new concepts for payments that we've never thought of before.
And then new technologies on
and
the
then
back
new
of that.
technologies on that. Now, what happens when you combine, here's another interesting one. Bitcoin is the first financial system in history that doesn't require personhood for ownership of money. Every single financial system we have, at the end of the day, money is owned by either a person or a collection of people as a corporation. That is a fundamental truth. It's required by the legal system. Bitcoin doesn't care. You can be software and you can own money. Software can own money. Let me say that again. Software can own money. We don't know what that does, but let me give you just one example. Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that management. Now, that is a completely bizarre construct. It's one we can't even imagine at the moment. It violates several of the assumptions we make as a society about liability and legal responsibility. As long as it doesn't crash, actually, it does some really interesting things. It's a really damn good taxi in many ways. But that's just one example, and that's not something we have today, only slightly different plus Bitcoin. That's something that is impossible today. And you start opening up these branches of innovation and exploration in science that simply have no precedent. And that's where it really gets interesting. So on a 10 to 20-year horizon, you can't make any predictions anymore because there's no precedent to what you're doing. Just like in '92, you can't predict Facebook. It's impossible to predict it.
Right. That's scary. That has some like AI, fascinating, I mean, you know, pockets of growth and capitalism and businesses like the one you just described could spring up. You would never know some of these things are happening. And with these Pico payments, it's hard to even imagine the
what
things
you could do.
Yeah, the markets that would
What does it do to the sharing economy? But to me, it all goes back to this fundamental question. We live on a planet with 7.5 billion people, and 2 to 4 billion people are completely cut off from finance, and almost 5 to 6 billion people are cut off from international finance. What happens to the world economy when you bring 6 billion new people online, people who are productive but disconnected? What happens to their lives? What happens to poverty across the world when you can extend financial services, opportunity, credit, liquidity? Like, even if you're in a developed nation today, where can you invest your money? Nowhere. There is nothing you can invest money in today. The real estate market is a huge bubble. You can't buy cars because that's a huge bubble. Student loans are a bubble in the US now, right? There are no investment outlets because nothing is productive. What about if you're investing in 1 billion people who are in poverty? And I could take £1,000, split it into 1,000 microloans, and join together with 1 million investors to fund those microloans. What happens then? Direct, no banks, no intermediaries, no overheads, no costs. Direct funding, developed world to developing world, person to person. From my smartphone in Trafalgar Square to a Kenyan farmer's text messaging phone, which they can then use to buy seed or stock up a small store or start a sewing business or buy a scooter and use it as a taxi service for a rural environment. That is where Bitcoin's possibility really is. The reason we cannot extend financial services to the rest of the world is not because they don't have money. It's not because they don't have productive potential. It's because banking as a series of brick and mortar, high overhead, high margin services is not scalable. But banking as an app backed by a network-based currency and system of trust scales enormously, and it can be extended into the most remote areas.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and as I always say, every single day, every single week that we do these live webinars, the rocket ship, which is BitFundZa, has left the building. We're about to go to a new galaxy, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go into hyperspace. But first and foremost, let me just tell you that my name is Max Garza III. I'll be your host and presenter today. I thank you very much for taking some time out of your very busy schedule, especially on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, to be with us tonight or this morning, guys. Thank you very much, because at the end of the day, without you, this ecosystem doesn't work at all. Without the physical currency, which is your desire to change not just your life, but other people's lives around the world, this would not be possible. So I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and my business partner, Raymond Fulmer, thanks you very much too, guys. Look, Raymond Fulmer and I have built this platform because we are sick and tired of businesses taking people's money and running off, right? How many of you that are on this webinar right now have been with a company where you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, right? Over a couple months, over a couple years, and boom, that company is gone. We've all been there, right? And it sucks, but it happens. So, you know, Ray and I sat down one day, we're like, you know what? We need to start a program where literally people can be proud of the platform, but know that it's going to be around for a long, long time. And that's where BitFundZa came from, guys. It came from Ray and I just being sick and tired of building all these companies. I've been to the top of 3 MLMs. Ray's been to the top of a bunch of companies. He's been in networking 40 years. He's my pawpaw. I call him pawpaw because obviously he's been doing networking longer than I've been alive. Very, very intelligent man. But you know what, guys? When you start thinking about all the good you can do when you have creative control of a platform, that's really why we're excited, because we're going to give you the absolute best platform and the absolute best training. Look, there's a lot of other Bitcoin programs out there, guys, but they're not going to teach you what we're going to teach you, and they don't have the connections into the Bitcoin and blockchain community that we do. Guys, I am a professional trader and investor, and ultimately right now I'm advising some of the absolute largest ICOs in China, in India, the Bahamas, the United States. I mean, literally there's so many companies right now that come to me because they want advice on ERC20 token smart contracts, and that's all we do, guys. We help people with pre-ICO, ICO, exchanges, wallets, you name it. That's what we do for a living. So that's what I'm telling you. You're coming into an organization where you're going to get a lot of knowledge about what's happening, but you're going to hear it before the rest of the world. So what does that mean for you financially? You get to tell the story first, right?